Hi, I'm Scrapping Amy with One Mommy Scrapping, and I am planning for happy memories. Today I am going to scrapbook a picture of myself and my cute dog using the Junebug collection from Basic Gray that came out in 2009. Let's get started. I am trying to use Pinterest more often to draw my inspiration from, and this is a layout that I have pinned. I will put the link down below. I'm going to use the banners from it as well as the vertical elements, and I like that little bottom right piece. I'm going to speed it up so it goes slightly faster than it was before. This is a layout I decided to put onto cardstock. I ended up cutting, I meant to do a 1/2 inch, and I think I did an inch looking at the completed page right now. I was like, ah. So I had wanted a bit of a smaller cardstock border, but I think this works. I love that orange that you see on the side. I've saved that strip, and I was like, oh, I could use this kind of as the bridge between the polka dots and the, like, I don't know, diagonal graph paper. I don't know what you'd call that. I decide to go with a sticker from the sticker sheet. Now what I am going to do, I hardly do any layers in this, y'all. I mean, that's like phenomenal for me. I use that yellow paper with the flowers. That's going to form the first banner. The second banner is going to be with that paper that looks like it's quilted. I love that. It is so pretty. And I end up putting these notches in it and essentially cut it in half. So that way the quilted one is behind the photo so you don't see the break in the photo. Unlike the yellow one. Well, actually, in looking at the finished layout, you don't see if I did cut it, there's a spot I could have hit it too, but you know, whatever. You'll see that at the end. I really wish I had saved some more of this quilt paper though, because I easily could have used that to do a layout about my mother-in-law. She does quilting and we have some of her quilts and just love them. So this is what I decide to cut and use. So here's the deal I have with these border stickers is so many of them are not, they don't go the entire 12 inches. They're a bit short. And I mean, I get that, like, manufacturer-wise, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, I really wish you went all the way because it's like, it's perfect. And you got one break, which those are easy enough to cover up. And it's kind of like what I just did with the quilt paper. I mean, looking at that, it looks like it's one long piece, and that's what's important to me. Before I started this video, I went ahead and did my journaling on one of the chipboard pieces, which is not something I normally do. Normally that's like the last thing I do and I'm ready to like take photos or put it in the album. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should journal. But I wanted to get it done ahead of time. And the other reason I ended up doing it on that chipboard piece ahead of time is because I wanted to make sure that I remembered to use it. I keep pulling out supplies for these and then forgetting about them. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm incorporating that flag design, the fishtail end, on the little banners that are at the bottom. I always like to include my date at the bottom right, even if I don't include it anywhere else. I will, or even if I do include it other places, actually, I will indeed put it at the bottom right as well. So you see these dogs that are the same kind of eclectic mix of patterns, and the dogs are actually from a one of their pattern papers, and I fussy cut them. Y'all, I fussy cut. Who gets me to fussy cut? Tucker does, of course, because, you know, he's my sweet baby. You know, he would probably roll his eyes if he could, going, Mom, you're so embarrassing. Anyways, so you can see right there with where the dog is on the yellow strip. I could have figured out a way to cut the yellow if I had only had a little bit. I'm pulling out letters from the alpha sheet called and they say Love and Boy. And I actually went back to a collection I had recently used, Sunkissed, also by Basic Gray, and I pull out the yellow letters there to spell my. So the title ends up being Love My Boy. And I go through also some of my my color embellishment boxes, because I want to pull out things that are blue and green and orange and red. Actually, I take it back. I don't think I pulled out anything green. Huh, that's interesting. But I did use some of my glazed brads from Basic Gray. So that made me feel good to finally get some of those used. And then some of my miscellaneous little embellishments. This layout, once I had picked out what I was doing, actually came together pretty quickly, except for the fussy cutting. I think I fussy cut the 3 dogs, and then I fussy cut that oval that says "Hey You," and then there's a heart that's going to go at the bottom cluster that I cut out. Look, I'm fussy cutting these rectangles. Rectangles aren't hard. I will, I'm okay with that. But, who gets all the fussy cutting? My dog. So I remembered I had these Chit Chat stickers by Tim Holtz, and these, I only have 2 sets. One of them are like holidays, occasions, and this was the other set, and I can't remember what it's called. Sorry about that. So I am trying to pull out things to put on with the different label pieces that I have. I like to include these word phrases in my different embellishment clusters. Now this time I only really included things in the top left photo and the bottom left of the photo. Those 2 have words in it. The cluster at the bottom corner ends up getting a tag, well, not a tag, a label in there, and that has LOL on it. That ends up being my quote-unquote words for that. And then the journaling spot, I did not embellish that one very much. What it ends up saying under the red dog is "Today was simply so lovely," and I actually put my own cursive writing in there. Dun dun dun. Like, I see so much beautiful handwriting, and I'm like, my handwriting looks like it belongs in like a handwriting book, because that's what I teach. I teach my students to do cursive, so it's like under curve, down curve, over curve. I think the L for lovely would be under curve, loop back, slant, under curve, and then you go into the O. Yeah, I have all of that in my head. So, including the little bits and pieces here, I think that these brads might have actually been for this collection. I cannot remember off the top of my head. And what's hard with the brads is that Basic Gray had so many different ways that they labeled things. And at one point, they stopped putting any indication in words of what their metal embellishments were. Like, they had like the color scheme at the top right corner, but unless you knew what it was, you're like, I don't know if that goes with that. I got no clue. So going back and using some of the older supplies is a little more difficult when you're trying to share what it is, although it's not like, you really can buy this anywhere. But one reason I love my Basic Gray, and I've said that before, and I also want to show that just because it's an older supply doesn't mean it can't be used. I mean, this is from 2009. This stuff is almost as old as my child, and she's going to be a teenager in a few months. So, old stuff is awesome too. Mix it up with some new stuff. Keep it with the old stuff. Just, scrapbook your style. I always put washi tape over my brads on the back, because when I slip them in and out of page protectors, I end up catching things on the little folded pieces. Now it is time to add in the Nouveau drops. I have Rhubarb Crumble, Auburn Pearl, Bottle Green, Neptune Turquoise, and Navy Blue. All of these are crystal drops with a metallic finish. If you have enjoyed this video, I would love if you would give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. And if you are not yet part of the One Mommy Scrapping family, hit that subscribe button and push the bell so you are notified whenever I go live or upload any new YouTube videos. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll see you later. Bye!